Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Joanna. Today we are going to be doing a drive-through of Fall Creek Falls, the campsite in which we were staying. So a little information about this park. The park has 202 campsites in 5 different areas. All of the sites have tables, grills, water, and electricity, and are served by 6 bathhouses. 108 of those sites do have sewer connections, and the park also has 12 primitive sites, meaning that they do not include water or electric hookups and are not used for anything other than tent camping. 9 of the primitive sites are walk-in and are set back in the woods several hundred yards from the designated parking area. Reservations for walk-in sites are only available over the phone, so you do have to call to make that reservation. You cannot book online. The other 3 primitive sites are park-on sites, which means that the parking is adjacent to the actual campsite. These 3 sites are located in Area C, which you can see in the video here in just a little bit, and they are marked with a P. These sites are reserved online or over the phone. Normally, these campsites range anywhere from $5 for the primitive all the way up to like $40 or $50, depending on the weekend that you're going. With the campsite regulations, there are a few rules here in the park. They ask that each site may contain no more than 6 people. A campsite may contain only 1 camping unit, meaning 1 motorhome, trailer, pop-up, pickup, camper, lowered camper, tent, all of the things. It also asks that all parked vehicles must not infringe on the neighboring campsite or block any roadway. All sites must be paid for, and the site has to be marked. So when you get there, you'll have a little white slip on your campground area that you have booked, and that was where you will need to stay and park. Pets are welcome, but they must be kept on leashes and contained at the site, and to continue to pick up after your pets throughout your stay. There are 16 backcountry campsites located in 4 different areas along the overnight backpacking trails. Virginia Falls State Park Natural Area has 14 campsites divided into 4 areas: Martha's Pretty Point, Cable Crossing, Caney Fork, and Virgin Falls. These campsites are hike-in with no vehicular access and no water or electrical services. Water gathered from the Caney Fork or Big Laurel Creek must be treated. Be sure to allow any time when you're going to these campsites. They are a little bit of a hike in, so that would be needed to be accounted for daytime and nighttime, as hiking after sunset is not allowed. So Virgin Falls State Park is an area located about 45 minutes north of the Fall Creek Falls State Park, which is where we are staying. And it is what has become Scotts Gulf Wilderness State Park now. All of Tennessee state parks ask that all campfires be made with heat-treated wood or downed wood collected inside the park near the campsite. And there's plenty of this, especially when we were here. There were so many downed trees everywhere because of the last storm. So you definitely were not low on firewood. It was just if you wanted to chop it or not. They do offer the wood to be sold in the store as well in the village, and they are pretty affordable. I think we paid maybe $8 for a bundle, if that, and you get a decent amount in the bundle. It definitely was enough for a one-night fire. So keep that in mind too. If you don't want to lug around wood with you, while you're going through the park or around the campsite, that is absolutely an option. Another place that we did not get on video because we were kind of just going around the actual campsite here, but I wanted to touch on it, was that Fall Creek Falls actually has a lodge. So the lodge at Fall Creek Falls is an ideal destination for like individuals, families, and smaller groups, conferences, and just like a gathering if you're looking more of the outdoorsy feel, but you don't want to stay in the campground or don't have the means to stay in the campground. The lodge features 85 guest rooms overlooking Fall Creek Falls Lake. The unique guest rooms come in a variety of different sizes and layouts, ensuring that every overnight stay is specific to what you need. And it has spectacular views of the surrounding park. So the hotel, they range from like $152 to like $304 a night. The $304 a night, though, is like the penthouse. It's a huge suite. So it's definitely worth it. In addition to the campground and the lodge, they also offer cabins. So they have a 2-bedroom fisherman cabin. That's about $225 to $400 a night. They have a 3-bedroom fisherman villa, which is $245 to $400 a night. They have landscape cabins, which is about $210 to $400 a night. These are standard rooms and standard rates. So obviously these can change and rates may fluctuate. I will say that if you are traveling with pets like we do, the lodge does not allow animals. I don't believe that the cabins allow animals either, but please don't quote me on that. We will have to fact check that prior to going. We normally have stayed just in the campground when we have went with pets. So we did go down to the lodge, and it is very, very pretty. They just completely redid everything. It's definitely something to go see. And the restaurant there was amazing. I will make sure to add some photos at the end of this video of our dinner, and we sat out on the patio and it was beautiful. There's so many nice trails even around the lodge that are paved. That way, if you are wanting to hike and you're wanting to kind of just get out in nature, but unfortunately you're, unable to maybe do rocky terrain, or you're unable to do those kind of things, this is a perfect alternative. You can still go, still get that atmosphere, but it's a completely paved sidewalk all the way around a portion of the lake, I believe. It might even be a little canal. There's like a little body of water there. But it was so pretty, so many birds, so many different things, just hanging out for dinner. They also had a great service at the restaurant, so it was definitely something to check out. But as far as the information goes, that's all I have for you guys today. If you want to enjoy the rest of the video, these are going to go through Campgrounds and the sites that we stayed in. We did stay in site 111 for the first half of this trip. And then for the second half of our trip, we stayed at campsite 121. 111 we absolutely loved. Had plenty of room for everything we wanted to do. We even set up like our games and had plenty of room. The dogs had plenty of room. It was a great site. Also had electric and water and was pretty even for this campground. I will say a lot of the campsites are uneven, so be ready to level your way of camping, whatever that may be. So we did have to level the camper a little bit on 111, but not nearly as much as the 121. 121 was very much a downhill slope. Our back of our camper was a lot higher than the front of our camper. Even, when we got it all leveled out, we still felt like we were going downhill. So definitely keep that in mind when you're trying to look at these campsites and booking these campsites. If you have any questions about these kind of campsites before you book, you are welcome to message us. We did kind of go around and we had a 26-foot North Trail camper at the time of camping here. And so that kind of gives you a reference as to what we were using. So if you have something similar or something smaller, that is what you're looking at bringing to Fall Creek. If you're needing some information on the sites before you go, if you've never been, feel free to message us or comment below, and we can message you on Facebook or through email, whatever would be easiest, and we can kind of share some information. We did take down the information that would work for our camper and our next camper. We don't have the North Trail anymore. We're actually looking for a new one that's a little bit bigger to fit our family now. So we will be keeping that in mind when we go next time. But as of right now, we do have all of that information still. So if you're looking for campground information, like as far as slope, they also put it on the booking website. When you actually book your campground, it'll tell you what the grade is. So if you're looking specific grade information, that is also a great resource. When you're considering a stay at Fall Creek Falls, there's so much more to do than just hiking and camping. So if those two don't really fit your niche or your family's needs, there are so much more that is offered through the park, in the park even, and around the park. So with that being said, we are going to do another video on the areas that we went around Fall Creek Falls, but was not inside the park, because we did do some things outside of the park and outside of Rock Island, which is just down the road too. We did a couple of the little towns there. However, if you are looking for something to do inside the park, but that's not necessarily just strictly hiking, you can go out with a ranger and see the park and learn about the experiences there and what has happened there, the history, all of the things that have to do with the park. They also have rock climbing, if that's something that you're into. They also have interactive programs for kids and adults at the Nature Center. It offers a very hands-on environmental education for the community around Fall Creek Falls, as well as what has to do in the park. So there is also boating. Private boats are allowed in the lake with a launch fee, but you can do a boating day at Fall Creek if you would like. They also have a very nice swimming pool in the village, which they do close for certain months, so make sure that it is open. And the same goes for the boating. They're not always open full season. Make sure that you are checking those dates to make sure that they are open. Of course, there's hiking with over 56 miles of hiking trails around the park. You can opt in for long or short walks, whatever you prefer. You can bike. Fall Creek Falls has 3 mountain bike trails covering over 24 miles. You can fish at the lake. So Fall Creek Lake is 345 acres. It provides largemouth bass and is home to the state record catches in the channel catfish and bluegill. Fishing is the best in the spring and the fall and is good in either the boat or from the bank. Anglers enjoy bank and wade fishing in creeks throughout the park, so there are more than just the one lake. Birding, you can bird watch. There are gorgeous types of birds down there if that is something that you're interested in. They attract all kinds of bird life throughout the year. And then if you're a golfer, they also have a golf course, which is 18 holes. It is a curved layout and densely forested woodlands of the Chamberlain Plateau. So it is a beautiful golf course if that is something you're also interested in. While at the campground, you can also rent out a pavilion. So pavilions are $64 roughly a day. So Fall Creek Falls has a total of 7 picnic shelters and pavilions. They can be reserved for any kind of event or gathering that you're wanting to have. They each hold a capacity of 50 people, and the shelters are equipped with picnic tables, grill, and most of them have access to restrooms, but just make sure that it says that on your reservation sheet if that is something that you're looking on. Depending on the shelter and access to the playground, swimming area, or pool, or ball field, those are all those central locations that can be accessed during certain times of year, and the location of the pavilions. So with that being said, there is no alcohol allowed at the shelters or pavilions. So unfortunately, there will be no late night drinkings or parties at the pavilions. So definitely a family oriented area for sure.
past changes so fast, like a chameleon. Red ones and blue skies, what did we know? We were so very young. So fast, like a chameleon. Red ones and blue skies, what did we know? We were so very young. The heart and the past changes so fast, like a chameleon.
But we want to say thank you so much for joining our channel and kind of following along with us as we embark on this new journey. We definitely love to travel and share everything with you guys. And so until our next adventure.